So, I got home yesterday from a busy day of teaching to find this on my doorstep. And I know what you're thinking. Is it a fridge? Is it a coffin? Is it a water tank? Nope. It's the GEWA Idea 2.9 Carbon super fancy schmancy cello case. And it's time for an unboxing. Not gonna lie, it smells a little bit like old people. Not sure what's up with that. Okay, let's take a look. So I've had a few minutes to look over the case, and some good things and some not so good things. I'm going to start with the good things about this case. The reason I'm doing this review is I saw a few reviews on YouTube already, but they weren't necessarily unbiased, and the ones that were unbiased weren't necessarily coming from a player's perspective, more from an instrument seller's perspective. So I kind of wanted to bring my perspective to it as a cellist, and hopefully this will be useful to some of those people out there who are looking at buying one of these cases. So the first thing that I really like about this case is its lightness. It's super, super light. Even compared to like a soft case, this is my ProTech, which I've had for a really long time. It's probably about the same weight, actually, if that gives you a bit of context for it. The second thing that I really like about this case is this system here, where the front folds over the back. And the reason I like that is because that's often where cases have their problems, is where they're fitting together. I know a cellist who checked their cello in a coach, and it was a really expensive BAM case they had, and it had one of those typical tongue and groove systems, and when they got off the coach, the case was busted. The opening was busted. The rest of the shell was fine, but it's quite a weak point, and that was probably a $1,700 case that was just not usable after that. The second thing that I really like about this case, kind of goes along in the same vein, is these clips here. They're really, really simple. The design is just so simple. And again, often with a lot of cases, one of the first things that tends to go is the clips will not be able to be closed anymore. I've had that with my old case. And I really like the design of this. It's kind of almost foolproof, and I can imagine these would last for quite a long time. So that's another point for this case. I'm just gonna put my cello in now and see how it fits. So here you can see my cello's fitting really nicely in here. It's got that padded suspension system, which you've probably read about on their website, so I won't bore you with that. But this cello model is fitting really beautifully in here, and if I just wiggle it a bit, it doesn't really move, which is really nice. I'm not going to have that moving about when I'm walking, if I'm having to kind of walk quickly for a bus or a train. I also really like these clips for the bows. Really nice German, typical German engineering, very simple, not flashy, but I know that it's not going to fall out when I'm carrying it and scratch up the front of my cello. So those are some very good points for this case so far. I'm also loving this kind of, it looks like a belt buckle here, this leather strap for the neck. It's just much more, it looks nicer, but it's also just much more durable. I can imagine it lasting much longer than the typical Velcro, which might wear out, or another kind of like a plastic system. So now I'm giving it a go wearing it on my back. It feels really comfy, actually. These straps are really good quality. They feel very comfortable. They don't feel kind of like thin, like they're kind of digging into my arms. The one kind of weird thing about the straps is that they are pulling a little bit sideways because it attaches here at the side. But I think that's just because I'm not used to it. I'm used to a feedler system that I've installed on my old case, which was just a little bit more, I think the bottoms went down there, so it was just a little pulled more up down rather than kind of sideways. But I'm sure I'll just get used to that. It feels really light, it feels really comfortable, and I'm not a very tall guy. I'm probably about 5'5", and it's sitting at quite a comfortable height for me. It's not like hitting the back of my legs when I'm walking. I can imagine maybe if you're very, very tall, maybe it would sit a little bit high, but this is perfect for me, so I'm very happy with that. I also love these rings here, these safety rings, which you might have read about on the GEWA website. That is actually it's quite rare that can happen where a strap can fall off, but I do have a friend who had that happen to them, unfortunately, and the cello was really, really damaged. So it's a good safety touch to have. And the last thing that I really like about this case is just that it looks really good. It just looks very professional. I don't think it'll scratch up very easily, and the finish doesn't really look like it will show scratches very, very well. Compare that to my old one, which was a cheap and cheerful Chinese-made case that has served me well for many years, but the paint started chipping away very quickly on this case. So the quality of that exterior, the finish is just not at all on par with GEWA. And I think people do kind of notice that when you turn up at a gig with a case that doesn't look very good. Much better to have a case that looks the part. So those are the pros. What are all the cons? Well, thanks for asking. So my only gripes with this case really have to do just with the interior. I'll show you what I mean. So a lot of this foam padding on the inside of the case, to be honest, it's really soft. Like really, really soft. Like not even like a mattress, if this was a mattress, you'd be like, I need a firmer one. It's really, really soft. And so it does kind of make me wonder, well, how long is that padding going to last? And also, how absorbent is it if it's so soft to the touch? Might not be that protective. I had borrowed a GEWA Idea, one of the heavier models, I think the 4.8, when I was doing my master's. I think the foam was a bit more substantial, and I have a feeling because they wanted to get this down below 3 kilograms, this case, that one of the places where they cut out some weight would have been the foam linings. I don't know, maybe GEWA would disagree, but it seems like it's very, very thin padding in there. So you still got this suspension system in here, the way it's designed, so that the cello is not actually coming into contact with a lot of this padding anyway. It's coming into contact with more of the firmer padding. But I would still say it doesn't really seem super, super high quality. So that is a little bit disappointing. So here you can see me trying to fit my spare cello into this case. And it's I guess it's a fairly big-bodied cello, but it's not like a Montagnana or anything massive. It's not huge, and it is quite snug. So I think if you've got a bigger-bodied cello, you wanna check that. Just that check on the website the measurements, because you don't want to order it and then it not fit. It unfortunately doesn't have any of those features that like the GEWA Air has features where you can adjust the suspension system in there and the padding to accommodate for a bigger or smaller size cello. So the main takeaways here are that I love the lightness of this case. I love a lot of the features of this case, but it's really, really expensive. And to be honest, I think if you're thinking about getting this case, unless lightness is a huge, huge factor for you, and you're doing a lot of traveling, maybe just get the GEWA Idea 4.8, because it's got a lot of these same features. It seems a little bit sturdier. Some of the interior padding seems a little bit firmer, and it's like half the price. So anyway, I hope that's helpful to some people out there. Will I return this? If I'm honest, I'm probably too lazy to return it. And I do like having a light cello case. I mean, let's be honest, it's never going to be that light. It's still a cello. Should have thought about that when you chose it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So anyway, I hope that's helpful to some people who are shopping for cello cases out there. Obviously, leave any more thoughts in the comment section if you know more about cello cases than I do, if you've tried some of these cello cases before. Maybe I'll do a comment about a year on and let you know how it's held up. But I'm pretty optimistic about it. All right, bye-bye.